What if I told you that you could get massively better at something without some huge, massive effort? Seriously, what if the real secret to getting incredible results wasn't some giant, life-altering change, but actually something way, way smaller? Well, today we're going to dive into the absolutely wild power of making tiny 1% improvements every single day.
All right, first up, let's talk about a promise that honestly sounds a little too good to be true. It's all about the surprising, kind of hidden math that's packed inside our smallest daily actions.
Just look at this number, 37. Here's the deal. If you get just 1% better at something every single day, at the end of the year, you're not just 365% better, you will be nearly 37 times better. That's not some kind of magic trick, it's just math. But if this is true, then why do we fail so often?
And yeah, here's the reality check. We've all been there, right? You set these huge, ambitious goals. You know, the classic New Year's resolution. And what happens? By February, we're pretty much right back where we started. There's this huge gap between what we want to achieve and how we try to do it. So, what's the missing piece of the puzzle here?
The secret, the real magic, is a principle you've probably heard of when it comes to money, but maybe not when it comes to your own life. It's the power of compounding. So let's break down exactly how this works.
You know, you can think of it just like interest piling up in a bank account. Your small habits do the exact same thing. One tiny action by itself, it doesn't seem to do much. Reading one page of a book doesn't make you a genius. But when you do it again and again, day after day, each little effort builds on the one before it. And that creates this incredible momentum that leads to exponential growth, not just, step-by-step linear growth.
This chart just shows it so perfectly. On day one, your effort is, well, it's just one, a single little unit. But after 365 days of those consistent 1% improvements, that one little unit has compounded into a result of 37. That right there is the visual proof of how your tiny efforts can add up to something absolutely huge.
Okay, to make this feel a little less like a math class, let's look at a super simple story. It's a tale of two friends, and they're both trying to start the exact same new habit.
So here's the setup. Friend number one is all about consistency. Just 10 minutes on the guitar, but it's totally non-negotiable. It happens every single day. Now, friend number two, they're waiting for inspiration to strike. They only practice when they feel motivated, when they're in the zone, which means, of course, they skip it all the time if they're tired or busy. So two very different approaches. What do you think happens next?
And boom, this just nails the point, doesn't it? After a year, the friend who is consistent is actually playing music. Their small daily deposits of time have compounded into a real skill. But the other friend, the one who is waiting for these big bursts of motivation, they're still stuck at square one. The main takeaway here is so important. Consistency always trumps intensity.
But you know what? This whole thing goes even deeper than just learning how to play guitar. The most powerful part of this idea is how it connects to who you fundamentally believe you are. Let's look at how this builds into something much more profound. Just let that sink in for a moment. Every time you do that small action, whether it's practicing guitar for 10 minutes or reading one page, you are literally casting a vote for the type of person you want to become. You're not just practicing guitar, you're becoming a musician. You're not just reading a page, you're becoming a reader. Each tiny action is a piece of evidence that reinforces the identity you want for yourself.
Now, that whole idea of voting for your future self is pretty amazing. But this all sounds great in theory, right? How do we actually make it real? Well, the key is to completely forget about the finish line for a minute and just focus on one thing: getting your first tiny win.
You have to start with something so small it almost feels insignificant. We're talking a micro action. Don't commit to reading a book every week. Just commit to reading one single page. Don't plan some crazy hour-long workout. Just do 5 push-ups. The goal here isn't the outcome. It's just to start the chain of consistency.
And that's why these tiny little actions matter so much. They're not about getting fit overnight or becoming a millionaire in a week. They're all about proving to yourself that you are the type of person who shows up, that you can be consistent. Building that belief in yourself, that's the real foundation for any kind of lasting change.
So, all of this brings us to one final really important question. It's not about what you're going to do tomorrow or next week or next year. It's about right now. What is one tiny thing you can do today to cast a vote for your future self? What is your 1% win?